Not all vegetables are equally healthy. In this video, I've ranked them in terms of their usefulness for our health. There are 5 levels. Level 1, A. It's very healthy, which means everyone should eat them. Level 2B. It is good, generally useful. The third level, C. It's satisfactory. There are pros and cons, but you can eat it. Fourth level, D. Sometimes you can eat, but that is not the most beneficial food or just useless. And the fifth level, F. These vegetables are better not to eat. There's going to be a lot of interesting and useful information. Watch it to the end. Let's get started. By the way, be sure to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell. Do not miss our new videos. Okay, item number 1 is broccoli. Broccoli is an amazing food that is rich in vitamins and minerals, particularly vitamin C, vitamin K, folate, and antioxidants. Some studies even show that broccoli can significantly reduce the chances of developing cancer. One study even showed that 1 kilogram of broccoli corresponds to a dose of chemotherapy. Well, quite a strong statement. No one needs to eat 1 kilo of broccoli every day, but in principle, the information is interesting. To be fair, there are some downsides. In some people, broccoli in large quantities, especially if it is not strongly cooked, can cause gas formation. Also, the presence of goitrogens, substances that can reduce the production of thyroxine, the main hormone of the thyroid gland. In general, it is more relevant for those who already have thyroid disorders. In conclusion, evaluating all the pros and cons, broccoli still gets top marks. Let's move on. The next item is radish. Radish is a bit of a different story. In terms of vitamin content, it's not very rich. There's a little vitamin C, a little fiber, a little folates, but the actual content is quite poor. But its structure can be pretty aggressive for our gastrointestinal tract. There are also goitrogens that are unrecommended for people with thyroid disease. Overall, due to the fact that radishes are much poorer than broccoli in their content, they get a sometimes you can rating. Moving on, spinach. Spinach is considered by many to be a superfood. It is very rich in iron. It's rich in folates and vitamin K. It contains lutein. It's also high in antioxidants, but there are some problems. Unfortunately, spinach is probably the champion of oxalate content. Oxalates are harmful compounds that negatively affect our kidneys and many other tissues and organs too. Oxalates are found in many other healthy vegetables, but the problem is that spinach has too much. So still summarizing all the pros and cons, I give it a rating of good. That is, in general, a healthy food, but eating it in unlimited quantities is probably not worth it. Let's move on. The next item is eggplant. Probably it should not be consumed regularly. The main problem with eggplant is that it's high in solanine, a toxic compound that's bad for our bodies. Even worse, if we fry that eggplant in oil in a skillet. As for the fiber content, it's not that rich. Just a drop of B vitamins, and all this in total gives eggplant not the best grade. Let's move on. Cucumber. What are its pluses? Well, high water content, yes, it consists almost entirely of water. There are no calories, no vitamins, no minerals. In general, you can just drink water. If you like to eat cucumbers, then of course I will not discourage you. But there's no benefit. In general, quite a useless vegetable. So, let's give it a rating of acceptable. Moving on. The next item is garlic. It is an interesting food. It contains such a substance as allicin, which improves the condition of our blood vessels and reduces blood pressure, as well as has a positive effect on cholesterol levels. In addition, garlic has some antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory activity, which supports our immunity. And also, garlic can reduce the risk of developing thrombosis. And in general, it's no coincidence that they make supplements like garlic extracts, because in general, garlic has a very good reputation in terms of its benefits. The minuses need to be noted. Well, the first thing that everyone has probably already guessed is the odor. Not everyone likes it. Some tolerate it normally, and some do not. Also, it is still quite aggressive for our gastrointestinal tract and can cause discomfort. Well, then you can use it in cooking. This way, it will be tolerated much easier. In general, summarizing all the pros and cons, garlic gets the highest score. Very beneficial. Moving on, the next item is tomato. Yes, I know that tomato is a fruit. Although there are disputes here because the tomato also has some signs of a berry, but Let's not get into botanical discussions. After all, we add a tomato to a vegetable salad, so let's consider it in the rating of vegetables. Now, the main benefit of the tomato is probably lycopene. It is a powerful antioxidant that reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease and is also very beneficial for men's health. In addition to that, the tomato has vitamin C in pretty decent amounts. There are potassium and folates. On the other hand, it's not that there's a record amount of them, it's not that there's a lot of them, but there's something there nonetheless. From the minuses, it is high acidity, which can cause discomfort and stomach irritation. Tomatoes are not recommended for people with high acidity. Also, tomatoes are generally recommended to be excluded if a person has gout. But overall, considering all the pros and cons and the main plus is still lycopene, I give the tomato a good rating. Moving on, the next item is the potato. Yes, potatoes have a certain amount of vitamins. For example, vitamins B and C, but we get quite a few of them. One of the good things about potatoes is that there is a lot of potassium, a very important substance for our health. Potassium has a positive effect on water-salt balance and helps to lower blood pressure, especially systolic blood pressure. On the plus side, potatoes are also pretty good at providing satiety. There have even been studies where people have tried different foods and assessed what satiated them the most. Potatoes were in the first place, that is, you ate potatoes and you are filled up, so subjectively, it seems that you are full and you don't need more. But potatoes have disadvantages and they are still significant. This is the glycemic index, which is quite high, especially if it is a baked potato. Baked potatoes have a glycemic index of over 100. It's even worse for our health if we fry potatoes. You don't want to do that. And there is solanine, which is not good. Overall, considering all the pros and cons, I give potatoes an sometimes you can rating. That is not the most beneficial food, although it will not cause great harm, so you can eat it, but not very often. Let's move on. Carrots. The main, most obvious plus is the content of beta-carotene and vitamin A, which is typical for all orange-colored vegetables because beta-carotene itself gives an orange color. Also other vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, and very high silicon content. But there are some disadvantages. For example, carrots are relatively high in oxalates, although studies have shown that if we boil carrots, the amount of oxalates is reduced by about half. Also, if we eat raw carrots, it can help our gums. As this hard structure can be good for our gums, it massages them in a good way and improves local circulation and repair. On the other hand, chewing hard foods too often may not be good for our teeth. It's also a tricky balance that needs to be adjusted individually. So, summarizing all the pros and cons of carrots, I give it a rating of good. Let's move on. Cauliflower. It's a good source of vitamins, minerals, and glucosinolates, organic compounds that help detoxify our body. It's low in calories, but it also has a disadvantage. These are goitrogens that are undesirable for people with thyroid disorders. Overall, evaluating the big picture in terms of the quantity and quality of micronutrients, I give cauliflower a satisfactory rating. Moving on. Beets have a lot of nitrates, and that's quite a controversial point. On the one hand, nitrates can be converted into nitrosamines, which is a carcinogen. On the other hand, this happens to a greater extent when we eat too much nitrates. And normal adequate consumption of nitrates is more beneficial. It's because of nitric oxide, which is good for the cardiovascular system and lowers blood pressure. So nitrates should be okay if you eat them not too much. For example, beet juice actually lowers blood pressure for a fairly short time. Also, beet juice increases performance in athletes. People have shown greater performance by consuming beet juice. It's all about betaine, which actually increases our physical endurance. Beets have a lot of fiber, and they're great for helping food move through the intestines. They have folic acid, but they also have oxalates. Beets are one of the champions in terms of oxalate content. As I said, they negatively affect our kidneys and a number of other organs and tissues as well, so beets in general are a healthy food, but it's all about quantity. If we eat too many beets, we're going to get too many nitrates excessively and too many oxalates. And if we eat beets in small amounts, we're going to be doing our body more good. So let's do it this way. I give it a rating. Sometimes you can, but not because it's a harmful food, but because to get more benefit than harm, beets should be eaten a little bit at a time, no more than 50 grams a day. By the way, what is your favorite vegetable? Write in the comments what you most often eat and recommend. Share your opinion. It will be interesting. And now, I highly recommend you to watch other videos on my channel. The link to the video you just got on your screen. Be sure to check it out. There's very interesting information. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and see you on my other videos.